Let's get started with our first news. Duplessis recently shared his thoughts on the heavyweight showdown between Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane, set to headline UFC 321. During an interview, he revealed that he's leaning toward Aspinall to come out on top in this highly anticipated clash. According to Duplessis, Aspinall's hunger and drive will make the difference when the cage door closes. He said he's seen some of Aspinall's recent training footage, and the English heavyweight looks absolutely phenomenal. His speed, movement, and sharpness are on another level. Duplessis explained that what separates Aspinall from many heavyweights is his composure and ability to mix things up effortlessly. He can strike, he can wrestle, and his timing is elite. That's what makes him such a dangerous opponent for anyone in the division. However, Duplessis also made sure to give Gane his respect. He described him as an incredible athlete, a true specimen with one of the most unique builds in the sport. Gane's footwork, fluidity, and technical striking make him a nightmare to deal with inside the octagon. Still, Duplessis believes that while Gane is extremely talented, Aspinall's hunger and mindset could be the deciding factors in this fight. He went on to say that this matchup is not just about skill, but about who wants it more. In Duplessis' eyes, Aspinall seems to have that fire and determination right now. After recovering from injury and reclaiming his momentum, he looks more focused than ever. Duplessis added that when a fighter has that kind of purpose, it's hard to bet against them. In the end, Duplessis confidently said, "I'm going with Aspinall on this one." He acknowledged that anything can happen in MMA. One punch, one mistake, and the fight can end instantly. But from what he's seen, Aspinall's preparation and mindset give him the edge heading into UFC 321. Move on to another news. During a recent press conference in Georgia, Ilya revealed that there's a strong possibility he'll be part of the inaugural UFC event on Paramount this coming January. He also mentioned that Paddy Pimblett could be one of his potential opponents. This news comes as the UFC prepares for one of the biggest transitions in its history, moving from its long-standing broadcast deal with ESPN to a brand new multi-billion-dollar partnership with Paramount back in August. Dana White announced the $7.7 billion agreement between the UFC and Paramount, confirming that the deal would officially begin at the start of 2026. Since then, fans and fighters alike have been speculating about what this shift could mean for the sport. Some have questioned how it might affect fighter compensation, event schedules, and global accessibility. White himself has stated that the deal will bring big benefits for fighters, promising increased pay and larger bonuses. But according to Ilya, this new deal is not just great for the athletes, it's even better news for the European fans. For years, European MMA supporters have struggled with the late-night event times, since most UFC cards are held according to US primetime schedules. That meant European fans often had to stay up until 4 or 5 a.m. just to watch their favorite fighters compete. Even events hosted on European soil were forced to follow American timing. Like when Leon Edwards defended his title in Manchester at 5 a.m., Ilya explained that with this Paramount deal, things are finally about to change. He said that one of the biggest improvements will be scheduling events during European primetime, allowing fans across the continent to enjoy the action without sacrificing sleep. He also pointed out that holding events in the early morning created logistical challenges. Everything from transportation to restaurant hours and local services became complicated when cards ran late into the night. Ilya shared his excitement about the opportunities this deal brings, especially for fighters and fans based outside the US. "I'm very happy that this new deal with Paramount was signed," he said. With ESPN, there were always issues when it came to organizing events in Europe. They always wanted American primetime, but now things will be different. This will finally allow the UFC to host fights at a normal local time, which works perfectly for everyone on this side of the ocean. For Ilya, this deal represents more than just a business move. It's the start of a new era for European MMA. Move on to another news. Back in October 2021, Islam and Dan Hooker faced off at the Etihad Arena, where the Russians secured a dominant first-round submission victory. That fight marked one of Islam's key moments on his path to becoming one of the most dominant forces in MMA. Fast forward to today, and it seems that Hooker, once one of Islam's fiercest rivals, has developed a surprising level of respect for him. In a recent interview with Sky Sports New Zealand, Hooker praised Islam for stepping up to a massive challenge ahead of UFC 322. He said that moving up to welterweight to face a dangerous opponent like JDM takes real courage. Hooker admitted that while he and Islam had their differences in the past, he couldn't help but respect what Islam is trying to achieve. "Credit to him for stepping up to the plate and coming up to welterweight," Hooker said. He definitely earned my respect for being willing to move up and fight someone like Della. That's something not even the greatest lightweight of all time, Khabib, ever managed to do, to chase that kind of accomplishment. Hooker went on to explain that competing in a second weight class is one of the toughest challenges in combat sports. He noted that fighters spend years perfecting their bodies for one division, and to suddenly go up against naturally bigger and stronger opponents requires a completely different mindset. It's a huge ask, he said, but credit where it's due. Islam's got the skills and the mentality to pull it off. What made Hooker's comments even more surprising was the genuine respect in his tone. Fans remember how heated things got between these two back in 2021, especially before their fight. But this time, Hooker sounded more reflective, acknowledging the growth and greatness Islam has shown over the years. Islam soon caught wind of Hooker's unexpected praise and decided to respond in classic fashion. Taking to social media, he posted a short but powerful message that read, "Need new haters. The old ones are starting to like me." It was the perfect mix of humor and confidence, a subtle acknowledgement of how far he's come since their fight. Even Daniel Cormier chimed in afterward, pointing out how Islam's dominance has reached a point where even former opponents can't help but respect him. It's clear that Islam's evolution from contender to champion has changed not only his career, but the way his peers see him inside the octagon. Move on to another news. Daniel Cormier is calling for major changes to the MMA scoring system following Merab's recent victory at UFC 320. During that event, Merab reportedly landed 20 takedowns in his dominant unanimous decision win, nearly finishing Corey Sandhagen midway through the fight. However, on a recent episode of Good Guy, Bad Guy, Cormier strongly disagreed with how those takedowns were counted, saying the numbers were misleading and highlighting a bigger problem with how MMA scoring works today. According to Cormier, Merab didn't actually secure 20 legitimate takedowns. Instead, he believes Merab landed around 5 or 6 true takedowns, while the remaining 14 were simply mat returns. Cormier explained that many statisticians and judges confuse a mat return. When a fighter gets taken down briefly and immediately stands back up, before being brought down again with an actual takedown. To him, that's a major flaw in how fights are evaluated. The MMA takedown is a problem, Cormier said. The way they score takedowns is wrong. A takedown should be when you take your opponent to the mat and establish control. It shouldn't count every time you lift the guy up and put him back down if he's already back on his feet. That's not a real takedown. Cormier went on to share that he's even spoken directly with people who handle fight statistics to discuss this issue. They called me in, he said. They sat me down with the people that record the takedowns, and even after talking to them, I still walked out of there saying, "It's not a takedown." You can't convince me otherwise. He emphasized that when a fighter maintains control the entire time and the opponent simply stands up before being lifted and dropped again, it should not be scored the same way as a clean, controlled takedown. Cormier believes this current system inflates numbers and creates a false picture of dominance. They need to let real fighters define what a takedown is, he added. If they did that, the stats would make more sense. Merab didn't get 20 takedowns. He got maybe 5 or 6 real ones and 14 mat returns. Cormier's comments have reignited the debate among fans and analysts about whether the judging and statistical system in MMA needs to be redefined. For him, it's not about taking away from Merab's performance. It's about making the sport more accurate, fair, and true to what actually happens inside the octagon. Move on to another news. Ilya recently made headlines after delivering a bold statement about Islam's future if he were to lose his upcoming welterweight title fight. Speaking to members of the international media, Ilya didn't hold back when asked whether he'd prefer to face Islam coming off a loss or Arman coming off a win. With a confident grin, he replied, "If Islam loses, he goes back to Dagestan to farm and continue shepherding his sheep. But if he wins, I'll definitely move up. 100%. The comment immediately caught the attention of fans and media around the world. Ilya made it clear that he's not afraid to chase greatness, even if it means moving up in weight to face one of the most dominant champions in UFC history. The featherweight king has already proven that he backs up every word he says, and his confidence shows no signs of slowing down. He's not just talking about becoming a double champion, he's already setting his eyes on a third belt if the opportunity presents itself. Ilya has built a reputation as one of the most complete fighters in the sport. A knockout artist with lightning-fast hands and deadly precision, he's also shown that he can submit top-level grapplers when the fight hits the mat. Fans admire him for his combination of technical brilliance and fearlessness. Every time Ilya steps into the octagon, he delivers with power, confidence, and the mindset of a true champion. Still, stepping up to face Islam would be no easy task. The lightweight legend has proven time and time again that he's on another level. Islam dominated and submitted Charles Oliveira, the man with the most submission wins in UFC history, without breaking a sweat. He's dismantled every opponent placed in front of him, showing mastery in both striking and grappling. Islam left the lightweight division as its most successful champion, and now he's looking to make history by claiming a second belt at welterweight. But Ilya's words suggest he's already preparing to follow him there, ready to test himself against the very best. His confidence isn't just talk, it's a statement of intent. For Ilya, the mission is simple: conquer every challenge, no matter the weight class. And for Islam, the pressure is on, because if he loses, Ilya says, it's back to the mountains of Dagestan to herd the sheep once again. Move on to another news. Dan Hooker, who has traded harsh words with Islam in the past, recently surprised fans by giving the former lightweight champion some genuine praise. Speaking to Sky Sports New Zealand, Hooker admitted that despite their rivalry, he respects Islam's decision to move up in weight and challenge for the welterweight title, something even his mentor Khabib never attempted. Islam, who currently holds an incredible record of 27-1, vacated his lightweight belt to move up and face JDM for the welterweight championship at UFC 322, taking place November 15th at Madison Square Garden. It's a bold move that instantly caught the attention of the MMA world. JDM, who became champion after dethroning Belal Muhammad at UFC 315, now stands as one of the toughest challenges of Islam's career. Hooker acknowledged that this matchup is no easy task for Islam, calling it a huge test for both men. He noted that JDM's preparation has been top tier, with elite coaches and training partners behind him. Jack Della's camp is very well prepared for Islam, Hooker said. He's working with Craig Jones, one of the best jiu-jitsu minds in the world. Craig understands how to counter that Dagestani style and has already helped Alex prepare for Islam in the past. So they know what they're up against. Hooker went on to highlight how dangerous JDM truly is, praising his mix of power, precision, and composure. He pointed out that JDM's performance against Belal showed how well he can handle wrestling heavy fighters, while still keeping his striking sharp and efficient. He's a big, strong, legit welterweight, Hooker said. I've stood next to Jack Della. There's no way he's making lightweight, even if he cut off one of his legs. Still, Hooker couldn't help but give Islam the credit he deserves for chasing greatness. It's a huge ask for Islam, he admitted, but credit to him for stepping up to the plate and moving up to welterweight. He definitely earned my respect for being willing to fight Jack Della. That's something not even Khabib, the greatest lightweight of all time, ever went after. He never chased that two-division champion status. Hooker's words show a rare moment of respect between two fighters who once shared bad blood. For him, Islam's decision to climb another mountain and test himself at welterweight deserves recognition. No matter what happens at UFC 322, move on to another news. Islam Makhachev's retirement plans have started to spark serious discussion across the MMA world. While the lightweight legend isn't stepping away just yet, both his mentor Khabib Nurmagomedov and longtime coach Javier Mendez have shared honest insights about how much longer Islam might continue competing at the highest level. According to Khabib, Islam might have around 1.5 to 2 years left in his career. He pointed out that Makhachev will turn 34 in October, and like Khabib himself, Islam could choose to retire while still at the top of his game. For Khabib, it's about leaving the sport with dignity and legacy intact, rather than pushing beyond the point of dominance. He believes Islam has already achieved everything a fighter could dream of, becoming the pound-for-pound #1, defending his title multiple times, and carrying forward the Dagestani tradition of excellence. However, Javier Mendez, who has been in Islam's corner for years, sees things slightly differently. From his perspective, Makhachev still has about 3 more fights left in him before calling it a career. Mendez has watched Islam grow from a disciplined student into a complete champion. He believes that as long as Islam's motivation and physical condition remain strong, there's no reason to slow down. But when asked about his retirement plans, Islam made it very clear that he's not even thinking about stepping away right now. In his own words, "We're just beginning. This is a new book. We're just beginning." That confident statement perfectly captures his mindset. A champion who feels he's still in his prime, still hungry to test himself against the very best. Islam has also said that retirement won't depend solely on his age. Instead, it will depend on how well he performs and whether he can continue to keep up with the new generation of hungry fighters coming into the sport. As long as he's able to compete, dominate, and evolve, he has no plans to stop anytime soon. Recently, Makhachev made one of the boldest moves of his career by vacating his lightweight title and stepping up to the welterweight division. His next challenge is a massive one, a championship fight against JDM at UFC 322 this November. Before vacating the belt, Islam defended the lightweight title a record 4 times, cementing his place among the greatest fighters in UFC history. Right now, he stands as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and his journey is far from over.